Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about the best books that I've read throughout the last quarter. I'm going to put on the screen the 22 books that I did finish in the last 3 months, and we're going to be talking about the top 5. It's been all over the place, I feel like, this year because I've been really focusing on going through my bookshelves and getting rid of books that I'm not enjoying, or like testing the ones I'm not sure I will. So finding favorites has been a little bit more difficult than I would like. However, I didn't read that many or finish that many that I didn't enjoy, so I feel like we're getting there somewhere, somehow, someday. But yes, out of the 22 that I did finish, here are my 5 favorites, the ones I would recommend the most. 3 of them are actually from April, so I feel like it's been forever for me since I've given a book 5 stars. However, let's talk about the first one, which is City of Stairs. This is an adult fantasy, and I completely forgot I read this quarter, and it's making me realize how bad I am at continuing and finishing series, which is technically one of my goals this year. But I gave this 5 stars, 4.5. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, adult fantasy, but what I really like is that it's a mix of a lot of different things. There's a lot of political intrigue, there's kind of a murder mystery happening, investigation, there are old gods that disappear, so there's also that mystery, there are artifacts, so the magic system is really interesting. But I read the first book and I need to continue because I actually really enjoyed this. I feel like I haven't read anything quite like it, and this is a series that has been recommended to me for so long, and it's been on my shelf for so long. So I finally got around to trying it, but I do need to continue. But if you're trying to find something a little bit different, a little bit more unique, I would try this one. I couldn't put it down. I was really curious. It looks deceptively small, but it is almost 500 pages. If my brain was functioning properly, I would have binge read the whole thing. I really need to at least attempt to continue before the end of the year because this was really good. I feel like it deserves more hype. It probably has hype. I just have been living under a rock around fantasy. I've been neglecting it, and it's making me realize that I need not to. So that's the first one. The second one, I guess, is fantasy too. Little shout out, it's a tiny book, but Galatea by Madeline Miller. I know she's working on another book that I'm looking forward to. Is it Persephone she's doing? I'm still waiting for her to do, what's her name? Oh my gosh, why can I not remember? Myths are not my thing. I just can't remember anyone's name. With the girl with serpent hair, snake hair. Medusa, what the heck, Emily? Yes, I think she's working on Persephone, which I'm really looking forward to. I mean, I did call one of my cats Persephone, so, but yes, I'm still looking for her to do Medusa. I know other people have tried, but I will read anything by Madeline Miller. I feel like her books are not what I usually look for, but I can't put hers down. I love them as audiobooks, by the way, but obviously this one I read physical book. It's incredibly short. It's about 50 pages. And it's a retelling of Pygmalion, and you're basically following this sculpture that was made by this man who's not a really good person, and obviously he creates her, gives her life, begs the gods to give her life so he can marry her, and then because he's a poo-poo head, obviously treats her very badly, wants her to act a certain way, and kitten, let me open the door. Of course, it's Claudia. She is coming to destroy everything. Hi, baby. Are you gonna come? Come on. Come on, come and say hi to the people. Oh, you can see her. Well, Littell. Of course, perfect timing, girl. So yes, I really enjoyed this one. In the afterwards, it made me laugh that she basically is calling him Pygmalion like an incel. Don't do your nails on my poor chair. Look at the beast. She's purring. Of course she is. Little sweet baby. She says, for millennia, there have been men who react with horror and disgust to women's independence, men who desire women yet hate them, and who take refuge in fantasies of purity and control. What would it be like to live with such a man as your husband? So that's basically what this book is about. Really quick read. Can't recommend it enough. I will read anything by her at this point. The next one, I have been raving about this one for the last, 8 months? I read it first in English last year in December. I, who have never known men, and then loved it so much that when I realized that it was originally written in French, which is my first language, I read it in French. So, Moi qui n'ai pas connu les hommes, I read that in April, so I feel like it counts. At this point, I don't care if it's cheating or not. I love this. This one I gave 4.5. This one I'm giving it 5. Not because the French version was so much better. It's just because I feel like it's a book that benefits from being read twice, at least. I'm going to reread this book forever. I actually bought another French copy to give to friends. I don't like giving people my copies because they will lose them or like destroy them, and it breaks my heart. So since this one is pretty cheap and it's finally back in stock, I was so mad. When I talked about this, for like 4 months, 3 months, I couldn't find a French copy anywhere. It's sold out everywhere. It's an older book, so I feel like as soon as you mention an older book, you have to have already your copies. So it's finally back in stock, so I bought another one to make everyone read it, and my friends are not really thanking me because it's a really depressing book, but they all love it so far. So at this point, if I haven't convinced you to read it, just keep in mind that other people are also enjoying it. But yes, of course, you're following these 40 women who have been in a cell underground for years. You're following a story through the eyes of the youngest one, so she doesn't really remember what happened prior to this, but the other women talk about it a little bit, but they ended up underground. They don't know why, they don't know for how long, and then one day something happens, the cage is left open and they escape, and that's where the story really starts, at least for me. I feel like the first time I read it, I was really focusing on trying to figure out what happened, which it's clear from the beginning that you shouldn't, but you know, I'm stubborn. I was still trying to focus on that. But I really got to appreciate the second time around, the narration, the characters. I'm sure you could, you know, figure out some big metaphor about life through it. But yes, the second time around, I feel like the impact was even stronger. I really, really love this. I will reread this book so many times. It's super short. It's like 200 pages, not even. So absolutely read this, since it is one of my all-time favorite books. And if you hate this, you can stay. But if you love this, we can all search for something similar. I'm still looking. I've gotten a few recommendations by you, and I'm looking there because I have some. So I'm looking forward to finding similar things so I can keep recommending them. But yes, easily one of the best books that I've read this quarter. The next one is something that I read last month, actually. And I need to continue raving about it. This is The Fate of the Tearling. This is the last book in the Tearling series, Queen Tearling series. This is an adult fantasy series, although I keep saying it, but book 2 kind of introduces a different genre. Stop doing your nails on my chair. See, I can't be mad. She's purring every time I just touch her. But the more I think about the ending, the more I'm okay with it. Can you hear that? She usually behaves nicely on camera. She knows when it's on. Baby, you have to stop doing your nails everywhere. I cut your claws not long ago. You shouldn't be doing that. I feel like the more I think about the ending, the more I like it. I feel like there are all tropes that we can't stand, right? And I feel like there are some exceptions that I'm realizing more and more as I'm reading more and more books. I'm approaching, by the way, 750 books read on YouTube. Once I've done that, I will do an updated version of like choosing one favorite book per genre. But I feel like the more I read, the more I'm realizing that there are some exceptions. Sometimes it's done in a way that kind of works, and I feel like this is officially an exception to the ending. I can't spoil it. I mean, I can tell you in the comment section if you just want to know. But I feel like it worked. It just worked. I appreciated how unique it was. I feel like sometimes you realize that a lot of fantasies are written very similarly, and it's nice to find something a little bit different. I feel like this is underhyped. It deserves more hype. But yes, the ending will divide people, so I get it. Last official book in the top 5 is a nonfiction. It was one of my challenges this year to read a ton of nonfiction like I did last year. It's not going well, okay? It's just not. It's okay to admit it. It's just not. But this one, I think, is the best one that I've read so far this year. This is Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. This is about everything. It is a little bit US-centric, which is to be expected, but this made me realize how much I didn't learn any of this in school. And like, yeah, I'm from Canada, not the US, but still, I feel like I didn't realize how interconnected these three things were, how everything is interconnected, but also just in the US, I can't think of the word in English. Is it a civil right movement in the US? That and women's right movement, how connected that they were, and how much there were some backlash from white women, about black men getting the right to vote before them. And like all of these things are things that I didn't know. And this was incredibly interesting. I can't wait to read more by her, or just in general, these kind of nonfiction. This was illuminating. So yes, looking forward to reading more by this. This is quite well known, but if you haven't picked it up, I would highly recommend it. It's not super long, although some chapters took me a while, but overall, really, really great. I would give this 5 stars. I usually like to include some special mentions, so quickly, another nonfiction that I wanted to give a shout out to is Bad Gays, which is honestly the concept, great. Essentially, you have these 2 gay men who wrote this book about, I think they have a podcast about bad gays in history, which I feel like this could have been so wrong, but I feel like they're the perfect people to talk about it. I do kind of wish there were more other queer people, because they do exist. But yeah, I feel like it was very male-centric, but again, history kind of is. So it is what it is. I also wanted to give a shout out to Ice Planet Barbarians. I'm totally kidding. That was awful. It was the most I have laughed while reading a book, but the book was awful. So I'm kidding here. The Only Survivor is probably my most unpopular opinion. I feel like I looked at the ratings on Goodreads and they're not good, but I liked it. It's a fun murder mystery, small town vibes, which is what works for me from Megan Miranda in general. So I was looking forward to it. This is the one with a bunch of high school students that went on a trip like 10 years ago, and then only some of them made it out. They kept some secrets and it's coming back to haunt them, which like, it's not the most like unique concepts, but it worked for me. I was happy with the ending. I was happy with the creepiness. So for me, this is a great like beach read. The accent sometime with that word. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. As you can see, not that many favorites. I feel like last year it was like one after the other, but I'm looking forward to the second half of the year. We're going to try to turn things around. Although for the month of July, I'm really focusing once again on cleaning up my shelves. But afterwards, we're going to really focus on finding favorites. Not that I'm usually not trying to do that, but you know. So that's it. This was just a quick little catch up, letting you know the best books that I've read so far this year, at least for this quarter. Please let me know in the comment section the best ones you have read, or if you have read the ones I mentioned. What did you think of them? I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, including some of the ones that I recently posted a read it or unhaul it cleaning up my shelf. That was a cleanup. That was a cleanup this time. And definitely subscribe because more are coming, and I will see you soon. Bye.